DJI have certainly treated us today. We've got a new firmware update for the Mini 3 Pro, we've got a new firmware update for the RC, we also have a new DJI Fly app version 1.6.6, again exclusively for this controller. So what I'm going to do in this video is just explain exactly what I found, and you can decide at the end whether it's safe to install. So let's get into it. So let's take a quick look at what we get then. We get added support for Japanese RID requirements, whatever on earth that means. We get optimized quick transfer to work in a low power state. Presumably this is to stop the DJI Mini 3 Pro overheating when you're transferring a lot of files, and the usual fix some minor bugs. So to do all these updates, it took me around 15 minutes. That will of course depend on your internet connection speed when you're actually downloading these files, which are, I must say, pretty big. So once we are all installed, the first thing you're going to notice is if we swipe down on the screen, you can see there is now an option to stop the mobile data or to pause the mobile data. Now flicking through the DJI Fly, as already mentioned, we're on 1.6.6. Now flicking through all of the menus and all the functions, I have seen nothing new. However, one thing does spring to mind. If we look at the tab here, you will see that the metric system or measurement system actually does highlight now, whereas before it actually didn't. So that's one thing to take a note of. Flicking through again, everything seems to be working exactly as it should. So what I want to do is put the drone up in the air and just see if there's any difference in signal quality or how the drone flies. And one thing you're going to see immediately is it actually automatically now decides that it is going to switch off Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, presumably to be able to make sure that the interference when it comes to this drone is kept to a minimum so we get a stronger connection, presumably because so many people have had issues with connection quality on this drone. As our altitude increases, one of the things you may well notice, because I certainly did, is the fact that the altitude figures in the bottom seem to be jumping up more than they did. Before they were just going up one by one, whereas they seem to be jumping. And that actually continues if we head out flying forwards on our outward journey. You can see for some bizarre reason, rather than going up incrementally or in 2 or 3s, it is now going up by 10 at a time. Just a little observation, nothing really major, but something for you to be aware of. As we continue on, the drone is performing exactly as it should. This is of course an urban test with a high interference area, and there is a bit of a black spot where it always seems to disconnect, so we'll get to that point and we'll just test out the return to home. So as we're heading along, the signal does seem to be doing pretty well, but then of course we do get that usual dropout as you've seen on this channel previously. So obviously return to home has now kicked in, and I can confirm that rather than making you watch all of this, that the drone did get itself back to the takeoff position as it usually does. A great safety feature from DJI here. And basically that concludes the flight. I've noticed nothing different there. The only thing I did particularly notice when it comes to when I was doing the update, or after I'd done the update, for some bizarre reason, even I was sat right next to the drone. Obviously it's a nice hot sunny day, so I was sat outside doing it. For some reason the distance that was showing between the controller and the drone just kept increasing. Even though I was just sat right next to it, I didn't move my position whatsoever, to the point where it got about 9 meters away, even though I didn't actually move. However, one thing that I did notice, if we go into the menu to the controller, thankfully the compass calibration on this seems to actually work, and it allows us to start the calibration, whereas before it didn't actually do anything. Now after I actually calibrated this controller, it seemed to work absolutely fine, and there was no discrepancies between the distance between the controller and the drone, so that was all good. So just a little bit of a heads up, if you do update all of this, you need to maybe check and recalibrate the compass within this, otherwise you might get some weird readings. The plane going over. Now one extra brucey bonus I have found with this controller, and it was actually on my list of things I didn't actually like about it, is with this update DJI seems to have actually increased and improved the screen recording resolution, meaning it's not quite at the level as what it would be if I was using a mobile phone, but it is certainly much more usable and certainly more user friendly, especially for a content creator like myself. So that covers pretty much everything that I have found on the DJI Mini 3 Pro, this controller, and of course the DJI Fly app 1.6.6. Of course, this might not be exhaustive, and I might find things in due course that I haven't noticed today, but I have been through absolutely everything I can think of, and this is basically what I've found with these updates. So do please let me know in the comment section below anything that you may find, or possibly let me know what I might have missed. Of course, I do like to do these reviews, but of course things do get missed from time to time. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. If you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up, and of course subscribe if you're awesome. Until next time, see you again soon.